What is up, YouTube? Welcome to the channel. I'm Shotgun Shogun. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dave Potato's idea on some ML 4-star EEs. I was about ready to just leave Stove for the day, and then this one caught my eye. It's from our good friend Dave Potato. You may know Dave Potato from some of the other Stove readings. Dave Potato is a little bit of a mixed bag. I feel like at some point we're going to have like certain characters. We're going to have to make like a Stove poster tier list. Dave Potato, I would say, is like an A tier poster. Sometimes Dave Potato has some good posts. Sometimes Dave Potato's pretty papega. But we're going to go through this and we're going to see what Dave Potato suggests on some 4-star MLEEs and how they're probably pretty rough. Because I'm in the mood. Challenger Dominell, who I don't know particularly why Dave Potato wants Challenger Dom to be buffed or why she actually needs an EE, but this is going to be an attack percent base EE. And S3 is going to grant C-Dom greater attack buff. That's right, Gab C-Dom. So that way, if the Soul Burned S1 just doesn't feel like it's doing enough damage for you, well, you know what? Don't worry, because she's going to Gab. Or here's an even better one. This one seems really fair and balanced. When you hit the S3, guess what? It's going to grant the whole team Skill Nullifier. That's right, Skill Nullifier team-wide. Cannot believe that that's not already in the game. Actually, dude, you know what? This right here, I don't even think that needs to be an EE. I think that should just actually be a buff. And you know what? If Gab wasn't enough on the S3, maybe you don't really want the Gab buff. You want attack buff, and you want your S1 to ignore 20% of the target's defense. Now, Dave Potato rolls this up with a little bit of a reasoning here. Challenger Dominell is very strong single target, but she needs a whole team setup to be usable, especially against bosses. Needs a def break, an attack buff, and, well, not dying. With this, she can be a bit easier to use and might find a place in more variety of teams. Superior attack buff might be too much. Maybe just attack buff, though. Thinking emoji. Dave Potato typically uses Challenger Dominell in raid, and would also like to use C-Dom in hunts. You know what? I got to give it to Dave Potato because you know what? He is thinking a little bit outside the box. He is thinking about this from a PvE standpoint. So you know what, Dave Potato? I'm going to give you points for that. But unfortunately, this would absolutely wreck. It would absolutely wreck PvP. Gab, ignore effect resist, or ignore defense, skill nullifier, actually pretty nutty. Yeah, all she really needs is for Politis to stop existing. Okay, and on to auxiliary lots. Okay, this is going to give him a base of speed. Now, I actually think that Dave Potato is a cleaver in secret. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna mask these as PvE buffs. But really, this is me wanting to be able to Oxlots cleave again in 2022. Anyways, speed imprint or speed EE base. S2 is going to increase the speed of the CR of the caster by 20%. Not unreasonable. That's fair. It'll let Oxlots lap a bit more, but usually if you're using auxiliary lots, you're using auxiliary lots to push a unit, and unless you're using Spirit's Breath that's maxed out, Whale Breath, when he laps back around, he really doesn't do much. He really doesn't do too much after his initial burst. That's kind of the whole thing. He could give S2 increase effect resist or grant barrier to the target and the caster for 2 turns. That one's kind of interesting. That was a little interesting. We're going to see what Dave Potato's take is on that. S3 has a chance to apply seal debuff for 1 turn. An AoE silence seal debuff. Oxlots is great support and for a strong DPS, but he's having a hard time due to off-turn units. With this, he can cycle faster or try to stand up against his counter, either by seal or applying a second buff to his ally. I'm not sure about it, but I wanted to try something for him. Sad face. Dave Potato, you know what? I will give you some props. I will give you some props for giving it a shot. I don't think that the seal is going to do anything unless the seal lands before Poultice can do her thing, which actually would be kind of interesting, you know, being able to seal a Poultice right out the gate if you were to open with S3. That would be kind of neat, right? So you could maybe put an fast Oxlots and then another CR pusher. You S3 with the Oxlots, but chances are that the Poultice has immunity anyways, so you would have to have a stripper, then Oxlots, then a CR pusher, then your DPS, which I think at that point is a lot of moving pieces, and then you're back to kind of where you were. Booklots, Soulburn, true, actually. But what if they pick Blind? Weird. But the CR push, I think, actually wouldn't be too bad, right? I think that the CR push wouldn't be too terrible. The increased effect resistance barrier thing for the target and the caster for 2 turns, I don't think that would be really enough. It would have to be like really crazy. Plus, sure, her S2 doesn't have an internal cooldown for Fighter Maya. Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. Tuno. Calm down, bro. I don't know that a lot of these would do it, you know. Realistically, yeah, you guys are right. Book Soulburn, you could be able to seal and then CR push, which would take out a CR pusher out of that, but you can't always necessarily rely on books. But I guess if you pre-ban Blind, then you can rely on books. So, you know, it is, yeah, it is. Please make Oxlots S2 in yourself like normal lots. Yeah, make it literally like normal lots. Yeah, 100%. Maybe because he says, maybe can I fight like lots? Maybe we just want to turn him into green lots. Fighter Maya is going to have a defense percent, which I mean is fine because she scales off of defense. Fantastic. S2 affects all allies. Yes, you're correct. It does not have an internal cooldown. Anytime that Fighter Maya gets hit, has a chance to get rid of 1 debuff. And this would just be a better A Tywin. S2 CR pushes the caster by 10%. That's fair, actually. Yeah, I actually think that would be okay. You know, that's not bad. That one is actually reasonable, Dave. S3, if the target is a boss or an elite, the requirement for the bonus damage is stepped up to 50% health. Yeah, I can't see them putting that in. I can't see them putting that one in. Kind of, you know, yeah, I understand that you want to use Fighter Maya on PvE content, but this, yeah, I don't know. I just can't really see them doing that. It's kind of, it would only affect like very small subsets of content, and then people would complain because they'd be like, but I don't want to use Fighter Maya in PvE content, this is unacceptable, blah 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 blah. Anyways, Fighter Maya is a very good tank, but she is a bit slow. That's true, and selfish, also true. To give her more versatility, she can now increase the defense and cleanse her whole team. Oh wait, hold on, that's right, S2 also gives defense. So not only does he want to cleanse from the whole team, but give defense as well. Yeah, that seems completely reasonable. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a completely reasonable change. Yeah, team-wide defense and cleanse with no cooldown. Yeah, all right. Yeah, no, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, that's great. Self CR push to help her get a turn. The third one is to make her a good frontline against bosses, being able to take hits and hit back much stronger. I don't really like her, but I think she has good damage potential. I don't want to waste it. Dave Potato, we know that you do like her. There's no way you would put her on here if you didn't like her. Also, who doesn't like Fighter Maya? Dave Potato, we know you secretly like Fighter Maya. You can't bamboozle me, Dave Potato. On to Champ Zerato. HP percent, that's perfectly fine. He needs to be a little bit tanky. S1 has a 75% chance to steal 1 buff from both targets before or after damage. Steals debuff immunity. You have the potential to steal 2 buffs. 75% chance to steal 2 buffs. You are 100% going to steal debuff immunity. And then you're going to get absolutely shit stomped. Yeah. S3, 75% chance to strip 1 buff before attacking. I actually think that this would be pretty okay. S3 grants a barrier to the caster scaling on his max HP. That actually wouldn't be too bad, honestly. I think that would actually be pretty good. It would give him more survivability, but chances are, you know, you're gonna have some sort of stripper or something along those lines. But you know what? Giving him more survivability, because typically Caesarito is kind of slow, right? And once you get the S3 around, you get defense buff. Having another barrier would actually be pretty okay. I think that's actually not too bad, and I actually think the other S3 is not too bad. The S1 is actually not good. I don't think that Dave Potato thought this one through with the debuff immunity. But you know, they can't all be home runs, guys. They can't all be home runs. Zerato is meant to be difficult to take down. The bonus HP is there to help him stay a bit longer. That's true. He can now steal buffs from enemies, taking advantage of their setup. The barrier is here to help him stay alive to S1 and gain some health back next turn. I know we all hate RNG, but I feared 100% chance of effect might be too much. Also, 75% chance matches his S3. So, you know, I do enjoy that Dave Potato ends with, I don't know what I'm talking about. Dave Potato, you are one of my more enjoyable stove posters, because at least you know that you don't know what you're talking about. Dave Potato, sometimes, like I said, you are easily an A-tier poster. You are easily an A-tier poster. Sometimes you got some takes. Sometimes they're bad. Sometimes they're okay. Sometimes you tell us good stories. C-Dom's too broken. A-Lot's EE is okay. C-Zeratos is okay, except S1, too broken. Fighter Maya is okay. Dave Potato. I enjoy how Dave Potato is chilling with the current balance and just wants to brainstorm buffs and changes to characters. True. Yeah, honestly true. You know, Dave Potato's like, you know what? Let's think about PvE too. Because not everybody is RTA players. Dave Potato, you know what? You're gonna get a thumbs up on this post. You know what? I'm gonna like this post, even though I completely disagree with most of these. Completely disagree with most of these, but you know what, Dave Potato? It was an attempt, and I think you did an okay job, dude. You did an okay job. I think some of them you got to think a little bit more. Think about how it's going to affect other things. But you know what, Dave Potato? Good attempt, man. Good attempt.